All right, I think I'm good now. I think I heard a little feedback earlier. Got a little background music. I'm enjoying it. What's going on, everybody? TGIF. What is happening? What is going on? What you been up to? Have you had a good week? I hope you have. My week has been pretty good. We've been having snow. That's what we do over here in Chicago. We have that lake effect snow, that wind chill. That's what we do. That's how we do it. What's going on to all the good people in the chat room? Yeah, this is live and in action. Hope you like it. Lady V in the house. Just ask myself. I'm gonna skip me, of course. Just DeAndre, what's going on? What's happening? Sir Obadiah, Psycho Candy. That's a good point, young man. Thank you so much for saying that. It will be in the replay, and maybe somebody will learn something. Realize that they are a male, and they may not know about these things. But I'm doing well, Psycho Candy. Hope you're doing well as well. What's going on, Emmanuel? What's happening? And have you been good, Don Teasy? What's happening? I hope you've been good. Have you been good? I hope so. Well, I talked to you guys about that poor apple that I just kept looking at. I just refused to eat. I wouldn't cut it up and said, okay, I'm going to do it today. And well, I will report that I end up throwing that apple away today. I couldn't do it. I tried. I tried it on the days that I had oatmeal. I had oatmeal 3 days last week. Um, One day I skipped breakfast. That's 4 days. The fifth day, I didn't eat until later. The sixth day, I didn't eat till later. So yeah, I tried those 3 days when I had the oatmeal. Couldn't do it. I looked at the apple. It looked back at me, and we looked at each other, and I just walked away. I couldn't do it. I did try. So maybe next time. Oh well. Um. Well, tonight we have Reverend Willie. She came back tonight to finish her sermon because she had two parts to the sermon for the New Year's Eve show, and she didn't get a chance to finish because I wasn't feeling well, and it just didn't work out. But she came back. She did say she would come back the last Friday of the month, so I do appreciate that, and it'll be interesting to hear what she has to say. Um, she would say a little bit more than I would say. I ask questions because I don't want to come off as badgering anyone or anything like that. But I am the type person, if I don't understand something, I want to get an understanding which way, which direction you're coming from. So I would literally ask you, what do you mean? Could you explain that? Are you saying this? Are you saying that? So she's going to come in and give her sermon. What did she say it was about? Shoot, what did she say? I don't know. But I'll drop myself down and let her come on up. I think she's prepared. And I'm digging this background music. I have it pretty low in my headset. I'm hoping I'm talking over it. It appears that I am. I sound loud to myself, but I just want to make sure you guys can hear me in the headset. But other than that, like I said, I'll let Reverend Willie come on up, let her do a thing, and then we can finish with the show. So I'll drop down and I'll be back when she's done, everybody. All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Reverend Willie. How are you tonight? I did ask to come back so I can give the other half of my sermon because I think you guys need to hear it. I've been looking around at the YouTube streets, as you guys call it, just to see what's the difference between the YouTube church and the church from where people like myself, pastors, actually teach. Now, let me reintroduce myself. I'm Pastor Willie. Well, people call me Pastor Willie. Okay. If you will look at my um, ordination papers, it actually say Reverend Willie. So please do not come after me like you guys did Kevin Samuels and say, see, you didn't graduate. You said you did this. So, okay, I'm telling you what my paper says. Okay. My papers actually say Reverend Willie. Okay, not Pastor. I'm telling you that you can call me Pastor Willie. Okay? So please don't come after me like that. All right? Because I won't be coming back to the YouTube world. I'm doing Char Willie a favor. I said I would come and I would teach and I would preach. But other than that, hey, I'm doing fine from where I'm teaching from. Now, again, as I said, I'll reintroduce myself. I'm Pastor Willie. I've been an ordained minister since 2014. And I was ordained from the Honorable Bishop Pimp Greasy. It's a blessing to have been understudy under him. And the church at the time where I was ordained was the Missionary and Doggy Style Petty Church of God. Now I understand that Bishop Pimp Greasy, he went on and got his own church. What about, what is he? I forgot the name of his church, but he did move on. It's been so many years, but yeah, he moved on and he has his own church now. But I did serve under him. Okay. What else I can tell you? Let me see, because I know I introduced myself. Mm, yeah, I did. Okay. I don't recall what I talked about for New Year's, but because I have my sermons, I have them set up because I don't teach for long periods of time. I don't like that. I know a lot of churches you go and you have like 3, 4 hours, morning service, evening service, post evening service, midnight service, shut in service. We don't do all that at my church. We don't do all that, okay? We pretty much do 1 hour and we're out. That's all we do. Okay. So tonight, the sermon that I didn't get a chance to talk about is the single mothers. I noticed there had been something that the people in YouTube talk a lot about, but they never give you a lot of details. They never tell all the story. So, from my research and what I know from the church, I will share that. Okay. I do have a testimony that is recorded from a popular person. And the popular person, you will recognize him. He is a comedian, but he is actually serious when it comes down to his testimony. So you can appreciate that, okay? All right. So I'm going to play his testimony, and then I will be back and we will talk about it. I will give my sermon, I will move on and give the floor back over to Char Willie, and she can finish her show and do her thing. So this is testimony from Corey.
This world has an abundance of resources. If you have faith, you can go anywhere and find your way. Ain't no doubt. Everybody out there who believes in the true God understands what I'm saying. I ain't scared of nothing because God has put people out here to save me from all situations. The obese single mom will always provide shelter for me. The obese single mom will always provide shelter for me. When the Lord don't come through, they will feed you their children's food. The obese single mom will always provide shelter for me. I was down on my luck when I first made that move to LA. But one thing that I knew is big girls move a man in their place. There's no need for no school graduation for me to earn my way. Them booger bears got my back in every city that I'm at. The obese single mom will always provide shelter for me. Yes, they will. You can meet them at church or at places where they're selling food. After they burp, ain't no limits on how they'll help you. All the food in the South is well seasoned. It'll make you say, ooh. But one thing I must tell, their house shoes always smell. Each single mom will always provide shelter for me. The obese single mom will always provide shelter for me. In all my journeys around the world, easy lessons come from big girls. They may have a pretty face, but the silhouette is quite displayed. And I don't want my friends making jokes about my bad bitch got my back. Yeah. Bad bitch got my back. Oh yeah. Bad bitch got my back. 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 Martin, bad bitch got my back. Baby, like a fake ass bear. Even though you feel like a bear, back is over here. Even though you walking slow, at least you can go to the store, get some more. Gotta go back together. You can help me storm the weather. Bad bitch got my back. Bad bitch got my back. Bad bitch got my back. Doubt in your foot. Smell like soot.
All right, that is a testimony from Brother Corey Holcomb. Thank him so much. He worships now. I invite him to my church, but he hasn't been able to travel as much as he used to, and that is because of the pandemic, of course. But he also worships the same God that we worship, which is the petty God, and he is a mighty good God. He watches over us in the clouds. Whew, praise him, praise him. Boom, shakalaka laka. Whew, Okay. All right. Just think about his glory, and I just get so excited. Okay. All right. So for the sermon again, oh, and I will give the information over to Char Willie so she can pass the address to our church, the Missionary and Doggy Style Petty Church of God. Just in case you do come to Baltimore, you can come and check us out. We only have two services. We have the Sunday school, and then we have the regular service. So nothing fancy. We don't be there all day, like I said. People have things to do. I don't know what this YouTube thing about six figures. I have been seeing a lot of that, but we don't have that in our church. We don't drive to Cadillacs or anything like that. We don't get those type of donations. So we do what we can, and we can what we do. That's how it go. But back to the testimony of the past of the brother Corey. Now, with this testimony, he was down and out, as he said. And of course, he embellished the story a little bit, but he still told the truth. So I'm here to break it down for you. He had to go around from city to city and travel. He did shows. He would meet women, from time to time. And during that time, he would, you know, sometimes he'd get together with these women. Now, these women sometimes would be single mothers. Now, they were single. They definitely were single, as a lot of them were single mothers. It is what it is. And when you hear the word single, but they always throw the word black mother. So I guess that's because, the sector of YouTube, I guess. That's why a lot of, the content creators say that. But because he's meeting these women around the world, and that's why this title of this, sermon is Singles Moms with Shelter, because they have shelter all around the world, because the man is well traveled. I don't know if you guys seen him from different, places in your city when he performed, but he's very well traveled. And he would meet some women, sometime it could be the person that put the shows together at the club or whatever. But he meets women from time to time, and it helped him because it costs money, especially before the pandemic, to stay in these hotels. But he always found shelter when, because sometimes those people didn't want to pay. Just think about it. You go, you do these shows. Some of these people, they don't pay. You do it, they like, hey, you bomb. We don't want to give you no money or whatever. And what you gonna do? All you can do is try to get your money later. That's the most you can do. So he would travel, like I said, and he meet some of the women. And for some reason, these women, they had children. So I guess that consider you single mom because if the dad isn't there. But one thing about this, these women had shelters, which is a place to live, in other words. And I'm trying to find out what's funny in the YouTube streets or what's bad about a woman having shelter. Because, in the church, we have our single ministries, we have our marriage ministry, we do a lot of things in the church. So to separate it, I'm looking, I'm like, okay, what's funny about it? Because a lot of men, when they need some help, where are they going to go? They may have a friend, and I do mean a friend, because they don't really have close friends. So you need a place because of whatever. More than likely, it's going to be a woman. Your mother, grandmother, aunt, sister, cousin. It's going to be a female a lot of times. And a lot of times, those females, they have shelter. Why? Because they need shelter. That's important to them. That's something that they're going to have. They need to nest. That's just the bottom line. And Brother Corey was talking about how he would meet these women. Sometimes he would go over, they would cook them a nice meal. And now, as far as when it gets down to the obese, He's a comedian. He got to throw that in because all the women he said that he met, they weren't obese, but a lot of them were. And the punchline is they're a little bit easier. You know, that's the punchline. And that's if something you guys you know all about that. Okay, got it. Now, Corey found shelter. Corey had no problem. It saved him. He made his way not necessarily around the world, but he made himself around the world. Not a lot of money in his pocket. He had food in his stomach. Sometimes he got a good lay, but he had a warm place to stay. What's funny about that? What's the problem with that? I'm not getting that. You know, I didn't have a whole lot of time to research YouTube. You know, I do pastor church. I got things to do, places to go, and people to see. But I just didn't get that. But for some reason, it's just a big joke around YouTube, and it's frowned upon. But as I said, those are the places that you're going to go. Just think about this: a woman has a child, and as soon as that woman has the child, do you know she can nurse? Did you know that she think about that nice warm place on her chest, which is the bosom. That's what we call, us older folks, we call it the bosom. You know, nice breastises, bosom, whatever you all call it. You can lay the baby there. The baby can eat. It is a warm place. Can a man do that? No, he can't. He can't. He can't do that. He can't provide that. So there's a very good thing that a woman can do that. That mother can do that, whether the man stays or not. Because if not, she'd be in trouble, wouldn't she? Yes, she would. And I am so glad that the woman is able to provide. And I know a lot of those guys are very happy that the woman can provide too, because a lot of them end up on the woman's couch because something happened, didn't work out for him for whatever reason. He got to start over, lost his job, whatever. A woman, she always trying to make sure she got a roof over her head and her children. And that's something that even the world recognizes. You have to protect the weaker vessel. Now, when it comes down to sex, do you, and this question is for the men, when you meet a woman, do you say, hey, how you doing? What's going on? How you doing today? You look nice. My name is Bobby. What's your name? Oh, Linda, how you doing, Linda? Linda, are you a single mother? Oh, you do have one child? Oh, okay. All right, Linda. Well, it's nice meeting you. I will see you later. Do you do that, men, or do you look and say, "Ooh, man, did you? Ooh, she turned around. Hey, girl, how you doing? My name Bobby. What's your name? Linda. All right, Linda, how you doing today? All right. You wouldn't happen to, be married or nothing. No. Oh, okay. Girl, good as you look. I thought you was married. I know your feet tied because, girl, your feet been running through my mind ever since I seen you. You know, the tired lines or whatever you got, That's your player. Hey, I ain't hating on you, whatever you do. I've heard it all. But anyway, um, yeah, so you're not married. You got any kids? Oh, you got a daughter? Oh, okay. Um, you wouldn't happen to be doing anything this weekend, would you? When is that your next line, or you just stop in mid sentence like the first introduction? Oh, that's all right. I'm gone. I'm peace out, and that's it. I doubt it. I doubt it. But I'm just throwing the question out there. I haven't seen it. I see the people coming to church, and they done met, and they be tagging. They come the baby. or the little child coming along with that guy. He didn't have any problem because what the man is trying to do is trying to hit that. You hear a lot of stuff. Well, I say here, but because the chat rooms, I watch them. That kind of helps me as far as seeing what's going on. I'm reading the chat rooms and I'm seeing people say not only they wouldn't date a single mother, they like women that's this, they like them like that. They can't have no stretch marks. I'm like, what? A woman can't have stretch marks? Well, what kind of world is this? I'm like, NBA players have stretch marks. You over what 5'7"? You got a stretch mark. So what the hell is he talking about? And I realized, oh, okay. I got to come back to the real world. The real world where I live. Okay. You just doing this for research for your sermon. Okay, calm down. And I realize people are just saying this because they're repeating what they hear others say. That's all it is. It's just like in the church. The Lord, He moves and He works in mysterious ways. And people say that only because they hear other people say it. That's all it is. They ain't read it nowhere. They just hear somebody else say it and they say it too. It's always the same thing. So I'm like, you got a problem with a darn stretch mark? So you must not have been with a woman since you were a teen. And even a teen can have a stretch mark as that young lady is growing. But, I let them have it and I'm like, okay, only thing I can do is show you and ask you a question and see what you have to say about it. And I think you're not really going to have much to say about it, but I'll just ask the question. You know that girl that I call her old baby. That's what I call her. Ashante. Because all she says is, oh, baby, oh, baby, oh, baby, oh. I don't even really listen to secular music and know that's all she do is, oh, baby, oh, baby. But the all baby girl here, Ashante, I think a lot of people know her. You would probably have to zoom in, but unfortunately, I'm not able to do that. At least maybe I don't know how. Let's see. No, I don't know how. But anyway, right here at the thigh area. This is where, especially the African American woman, I don't know, is that popular? Is that how you all say it over here? Can I say black? I don't know about this YouTube speech, but black women, we have bumps and a pump. You know, pumps is, we wear heels. And we stretch out in this area. And this woman clearly has stretch marks. You may not be able to see it, but trust me. The woman has stretch marks. So this is what I want to ask you. I got another question for you, man. I want to know if you do it. Because I haven't seen it. In my 30 years of being active, I have not seen this. This has not happened to me. I don't know about anyone else, but I'm going to put it out there. And women, you can, yay. If you seen it and you heard about it, you can say it too. But one thing I know, women, they talk. And we never had this conversation, but this is it. So the guy, he comes over. You guys, on the couch or whatever, you start out at. Could be in the kitchen. Sometimes people like it there. They start a little kissing or doing whatever they do, and they move to the bedroom. And then the guy, he takes off. Now it's time to get busy. So the man, he's wearing his pants, trousers, if you go way back and how we kind of say it. So the man, he unzips his pants and he takes the leg out. Normally it's the right leg. It takes it out. And when he takes that right leg out, guess what we see, ladies? We get a glimpse of that erection. That erection is just to the left, to the left. Stand attention to the left. And then he takes that pants leg off. And you getting, you taking your clothes off. You get in the bed. You get in first. Then he gets in. But this is how he gets in. He gets in with the one leg, normally the right leg. So he can straddle you. So He has to look down to see where he's putting his knee, because otherwise he'll put his knee on top of your leg. So he looks down, and guess what he sees? He watches to make sure he doesn't sit on the woman's thigh, and he sees a stretch mark. There's a stretch mark. So this is what I want to know to happen. So when he sees a stretch mark, does he stop right there and don't put the other leg in the bed? He just crawls back, go out the opposite way and say, "Oh, I'm sorry. I don't deal with women that have stretch marks, and I see stretch marks. So as soon as it goes down, I'm going to put my clothes on." And it was nice meeting you. I really had a good time. I won't be able to see you anymore. And it was nice meeting you. Thank you for the date. Is that what happens? It's over with? He's not going to continue forward because he saw a stretch mark? I just want to know. I haven't experienced that. Maybe you guys have. I haven't. And like I said, women talk. Can you imagine that conversation? Girl, me and Larry was about to get busy and he talking about he don't date no women with no stretch marks. Girl, what? Where you meet him at? Girl, I was coming from the store. I go to the store. Girl, no. What? So what happened? Girl, I was in the bed and he was getting ready to get in the bed and he looked down and he saw on my thigh I had stretch marks. And he said he don't date no woman with stretch marks. So he got out the bed and put his clothes on and said that we wouldn't be seeing each other anymore. So what? So girl, come on. So y'all been seeing each other for 3 weeks now. Y'all been going out and everything. And the first time you all getting ready to get down, he said he can't see you no more because you got a stretch mark? Girl, I haven't seen it. And I've been in several cities, been to one country, and I have not heard of this at all. Not a conversation with a friend, not a news article, nothing. I haven't seen it. And like I said, when it comes down to stretch marks, even NBA players have stretch marks. Anybody normally 5'7" and over has a stretch mark. So what are you talking about? But I know what it is. People are only saying that because they hear other people saying that. That's all it is. You heard somebody, you say it too. That's all. So please be careful of what you hear and what you repeat. You ain't got to go along to get along with everything that you said. Remember, we serve a petty God, a mighty good God. He sees and knows everything. Don't worry about what someone else says on a social media platform. And also, this is America. It's the land of the free. You didn't know about it? Here it goes.
Land of the free, free of the free, land of the free, free of the free.
I'm Marquez.
Land of the free, of the free, of the free, land of the free, of the free, of the free. It's regular, of the free, it's regular.
You are free to date who you want, go where you want, do what you want. And yes, you don't have to date single mothers, but you don't have to follow everyone that says the same thing. Keep living. That's what the older people used to say. Baby, keep living because you're going to learn. And plus, like I said, you're in America. It's the land of the free. Keep that in mind, people. Keep that in mind. All right? That's foolishness. A bunch of foolishness. You got to be careful about dealing with the wicked. You need wisdom. Pray, people. That's all I can say. The petty God hears you. You think he's far away? He's never that far away. You may reside in the clouds, but like I said, the petty God is a good God. He sees everything. He's looking down on us now. Yes, he is. All right. And last thing I was going to mention. Oh, and let me look at the comment section. Let me see if I see anybody who dealing. Let me see. Nobody. Let's see. Okay, I don't see anyone mention have an issue with stretch marks. But yeah, you ask somebody that, and I think even if a man tells another man that's what he did, he backed out on, he'd be the laughing stock of whatever. You're right. Yeah, I don't believe it at all. Do not believe it. He gonna continue putting that other left leg in, presume the position, and do what he don't know to do. And that's just life. Mm-mm-mm. Let's see what else I had to tell you all here on my list here, because I do write part of my sermon down. Let's see. I didn't get that descriptive when it came down to the woman body, and I know that's what Char Willie is going to talk about tonight. Some guy, he's looking for a woman, but yet he's an expert on the womb. And I'll stick around. I'll be in the chat room. I'll be listening, but I do have some other matters to deal with tomorrow. There is someone that's getting married, and I will say yes, they are over the age of 25. I think that's something else that you guys have in the YouTube streets, that you can't have a child, you can't be over 25, and I don't know. It's a bunch of foolishness. I can't remember all that, but yeah. But I will be in the chat room there. I'll be supporting. I'll be listening. But back to the single mother. Um, the body parts. Going back to what, like I said, older people call it bosom. You all call it breastises. At least that's what I've seen in one of the shows. But don't men find that appealing? Don't you find not only the hips, but the breasts is appealing? So just imagine the baby is laying there, comfortable, be also able to be fed. So as a man, you mean to tell me that you don't want to enjoy the body parts of a woman just because she gave birth to a child? I don't know what that is. It just seemed like a lot of poison rhetoric. And I know for a fact, especially all the cities I've been in and where I teach, I see a lot of people that have had children. I mean, there's no scarlet letters. Just think about all this. If they did have that scarlet letter when it comes down to not being a virgin anymore, having a child or anything like that, can you imagine all the folks with an S on the chest And it wouldn't be for Superman either. No, it'll be for the Scarlet Letter. So you wouldn't even have guys. I wonder, when do men normally start sexually? As early as 14, definitely 15 in my city. That's normally about 15, 16. Are you concerned with all those type of things? I know that the testosterone is going and all that. I don't think you're really all that concerned, but I think you're more so concerned with being able to mate. That's what I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it mate. I know it's sex, but all these different terms that's going on YouTube. You can't say this, you can't say that. Hoping that I didn't get this woman in trouble with the erection part, but that is could be eruption, the sexual eruption. There you go, the sexual eruption. How about that? Oh my goodness. The classic Ruby says 12-13. Wow. Okay. Um, Well, in some of the major cities, it's normally as early as 14. 15 is kind of like that sophomore year. Um, I don't know if it has anything to do with the pimples on the face. I don't know. But normally that's around the time. But the woman, again, her body provides a lot of things for a man. And as far as her becoming a mother, she has to protect her child. That's important. So she has to have a nest. She has to have a place, a roof over her head. So wouldn't you find that to be important for her to have? And I found in the comments section that seems to be an issue around here, that she has a place to live. But I found many guys that are trying to get in there. Have you guys seen the newspaper, or maybe not the newspaper now, online paper, because a lot of people, cut out paper. But have you seen a lot of the stories that's on the news? What's going on? And it's always the guy live with the girl. Have you noticed that? I don't know and it's all age ranges. I don't know about the income because that could have something to do with it. But regardless, a lot of these men are getting with the woman that has shelter. And like I said, our brother Corey here, he was a witness to it. He said that helped get him where he is now. And if he didn't have that, it would have been an issue. Those women that he met in the club or whatever, they were able to give him a good time, place to stay, moved on to the next city till he got his big break. That's how it was. Stop playing. I don't know why these people are playing. It's not funny. It's just true. It is literally true. But I'm gonna keep looking around for some more stuff. Hopefully Char Willie can help me with the setup when it comes down to sharing the screen and everything. I know she got some good stuff for you, but I'm going to let her have her show back. I definitely appreciate speaking with you all. It was a blessing. And I'll release the Holy Spirit upon you all. And that is the petty God. As I said before, he watches over us. He sees everything. But I will release that. Blessings to you all. And I don't know when we meet each other again. Well, I'll put it by request. I'll ask her to give a request. I'll be a little bit more prepared on some other topics. And yeah, so peace be upon you. Let the Holy Spirit activate.
You cannot
Hold on.
Okay.
Holy Spirit, activate.
Oh, no.
Holy Spirit,
no. Oh, no.
activate. Holy Spirit, activate. 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 Holy Spirit, activate.
Oh, no.
Holy Spirit,
no. Oh, no.
activate. Holy Spirit, Holy Spirit, Holy Spirit, Holy Spirit, activate. Holy Spirit, activate. Holy Spirit, activate. activate, activate, activate. Hold up. Holy Spirit, activate.
Oh no.
Holy Spirit, activate. Holy Spirit, activate. Holy Spirit, activate.
Holy Spirit, activate. Holy Spirit, activate. Holy Spirit, Holy Spirit, Holy Spirit, activate. Holy Spirit, activate. Holy Spirit, activate. Activate, activate.
Holy Spirit, activate. Holy Spirit, activate. Holy Spirit, activate. Activate, 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 activate. All right, let's go.
All right. Thank you, Pastor Willie. Reverend Willie, I won't get you in trouble. Thank you so much for coming back. We do appreciate you. Enjoy the chat. We got some good people in the chat room. We keep it clean over here. That's why it's not a whole lot of folks doing all of that stunting. How are you doing today, lovely class Ruby? Welcome. Good to see you.
Oh, girl, I didn't even know I was up here. What's up, TGIF? And of course, we got to give our snaps to Reverend Willie. You know, she was on Beyond Fire today. She was like nuclear bomb explosion. All right, girl. We feel you. We feel you. I feel that. I feel that. So you know, I think that I'm composing myself now. This lovely TGIF, you know, Rev made me have to really sit down and take a look at myself and things maybe that I agreed with or that I just overlooked. I turned the other way. At the foolishness and the petty gods had to strike me down, sit me down and say, Ruby, they're doing too much. You need to open your eyes. So I'm feeling a little cleansed. I'm feeling a little cleansed. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good, I must say. Pretty good
Good.
tonight. I'm going to have some tea. I
Mhm.
decided to have tea instead of wine, but wine
Okay.
is for tomorrow because I'll have,
Mm.
I think I'm going to do either chicken tacos or burrito tomorrow for dinner.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
It'll
Yeah.
go well. Hmm.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. So I do appreciate Reverend Willie coming. Maybe we can have her back. We'll see what happens if she has another sermon. She says she quick. She says she don't be all day. She got other things to do and some other people to see. So I look forward to her coming back one day.
Hey, listen, the streets need, you know, Rev Willie, you know what I mean, and all of our other good reverends and exposers. But at the same time, I understand why they're like, screw you, y'all don't want to listen, y'all don't want to learn. I'm done with y'all. So just hopefully we could coax her back here and there, you know? Just come on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'll be
right.
good.
I think we have a smart, intelligent audience, you know, an audience that actually can listen and learn and whatever. So I think she kind of likes it over here. I think so. I think.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she came back.
Exactly, right? We all know Rev Willie. If she didn't like it, she ain't coming back the second time. There are no second chances. Forget third chances. There's no second chances. So, yeah, true, true, true. Mhm.
Right. Well, for tonight, I find it to be interesting. I always find these dating folks from the Kendra G show to be interesting. So that's where this womb expert is from. That's why I call him a womb expert. And you will find out why when he opens his mouth, when he gets to talking and telling you about you, woman.
Mhm. I gotta love that. All right.
Yeah. This is yeah, let's see what people get from this. I women, have your listening ears open. Have them open wide. Cause
Mhm.
yeah,
All
here we
right.
go.
We're ready for it. All right.
Brace yourself.
Mm.
Andre, where you calling us from?
From Greenville.
Greenville, North
Uh,
Carolina? Yeah,
North Carolina?
South Carolina.
South Carolina. Greenville, South Carolina. How old are you, Andre?
42.
42. Do you have any kids?
I do not.
No kids. What do you do for a living?
I'm a sales manager at a car dealership.
A sales manager at a car dealership. When's your birthday?
November 23rd.
That's a Sagittarius?
Absolutely.
Okay, Sagittarius. All right, this is Sagittarius night. Andre, Greenville, right?
Mm-hmm.
Greenville, South Carolina, 42, no kids. As a sales manager at a car dealership, and is a Sagittarius. What kind of woman are you looking for?
Just somebody who you know what they're looking for, who works, they can have kids, maybe one, maybe two. I don't really have a preference. Black women.
Okay. They said they like you nice looking, black women. So you want children. I'm happy you brought that up. So you always wanted children?
No. I said they can have children.
Oh,
Not
they
me.
can have children. Do you want children yourself?
It's not a goal of mine.
Okay. But they can have two children. Okay.
I'm against it though.
You're not against it. Okay. And they can have two children though.
Yeah.
Okay, they can have two children. All right, this is Andre, Greenville, South Carolina, 42, no kids, sales manager, at a car dealership. What's some deal breakers for you?
Deal breakers. You want me to be honest?
Very.
Okay. I'm not into the long eyelashes. I'm not into loud women. I like to go out to restaurants and eat. And if the food come out bad, just you can complain and say, "Hey, this is not what I ordered." Blase, blase. But boy, it's making a scene and all that. I don't like that kind of stuff.
Okay. I feel like there's more. Is there more?
Not really.
Okay.
I just don't like. I like a good vibe. I like to chill. I like to just have a good time.
Did you have an experience with long lashes and a woman cussing somebody out at a restaurant?
Yeah. See, I'd rather if your drink come out bad or whatever, just get another drink. Drink $7, $12. Just get another drink, and I drink the one that's bad.
Okay. Oh, you're easy going like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happened? Now I need to know the story. So what actually happened?
I mean, I don't like to be embarrassed. I like to be the one that do the embarrassing, because I like to have fun and joke. But when it's loud, when people are looking, when you're making a scene, that's totally different. Okay. So I don't have any stories to tell, but
okay, fair enough. All right, say again, sweetheart.
Say again.
What'd you say?
I said I had a couple of experiences, nothing really crazy. I just be like, yo, chill,
Okay, so you don't want anybody loud and long lashes. When was the last?
I'm talking about when they start looking like rakes.
Say again.
When they start looking like rakes, like you got a rake on your face, like I'm not into that.
Ooh.
I get the story. I do know why I asked somebody the other day about the lashes thing, and most women say that it's not for the guys, it's for the other women to compliment them. Because I've never met a guy to say, "Oh, look at that girl with the long lashes. That's the one I want." Never heard that, ever. I never say I want the girl with the long lashes.
Hey, I understand everyone has their own beauty regimens that they like to do.
Okay, can we pause for a second? I want to address that.
Style for photos.
I want to address that. First off, because when I was younger, my nickname, which was given to me by men, okay, or I guess young men, whatever, was Lashes.
Okay.
because my lashes, and it's actually something that's been haunting me this week because I realized, maybe because I'm older, maybe because medication, whatever, but they're a lot less full and long and curly than they used to be, and I'm like, I just feel like I lost my identity a little. But I have, it's actually very rare, and I was born with it. It's a condition, I can't remember, it's like diastasis or something. I can't remember how to pronounce it. Anyway, but it's genetically, I was born with 2 rows of lashes, not one.
Oh, wow.
So yes, so my lashes are very, very thick, and they are long, and they were so curly that if I put fake lashes on, my lashes curled back in, like, past the fake lash. Like, that's how my lashes were so long and curly that if I put mascara on and I didn't keep my eyes closed until until it was dry, it would rub mascara all over my eyelids. That's how long and curly my lashes were. Men absolutely noticed this. They absolutely commented on how beautiful my lashes were. Actually, even when I was a kid, though, like, teachers and stuff would think that I was wearing makeup in, like, the 2nd and 3rd grade. And, like, I remember getting really upset sometimes, like taking paper towels with, like, water and rubbing as hard as I could, and being like, I'm not lying, I'm not wearing makeup, I was born this way, because I also kind of look like I have liner and whatever. But the point is, why do men notice this? They might not necessarily mention your eyelashes specifically, but they notice a woman with beautiful eyes, right? And the more beautiful, like, it's like, there's levels to stuff. Now, I'll tell you why the lashes are important and why women really wear them. Because the darker your lashes are, right, the more lash you have, the more that they curl upwards and whatever, they make your eyes look more awake. They make your eyes look bigger, and they make you, therefore, look younger. Okay. They make you look more innocent. They make you look like you're being more honest. They make you look more feminine. So these are actually things, right? This is why women, yes, these lashes, the fake lashes, I've never really been about them, right? But even though they're super exaggerated and ridiculous, they still have the effect of making your eyes look bigger, making you look less tired, right? And giving you the exact same impact. And so even though the men are not responding to the lash, right, they're responding to your look, it is actually making your eyes look away that men like to see in women. I mean, these men talk all the time about how they love youth, right? Okay. Notice a baby's eyes look ginormous. Like, it literally looks like their eyes are like half of their face, right?
Right.
And we think babies are so adorable, and toddlers are so adorable, and young kids are so adorable, and then they get to, like, older childhood and they're less adorable. It's because their eyes actually start becoming more imbalanced with their face. That's really what it is. Look at old, like, a 60-year-old versus a 40-year-old. And 60-year-olds who are still very vibrant and lively and stuff, but they have the bags and the wrinkles, they look tired and old, right? You just cut away the extra skin and fat pads and stuff, and they look 20 years younger. So it's pretty disingenuous to pretend women are wearing lashes to impress other women. No, it's about the overall look and getting men to want them as an overall look, and the overall look of youth and beauty and all that stuff. Yeah, the lashes are a little bit extra, but it's playing into, look, let's stop lying. You gotta say, I had to be said. I'm sorry. It's so disingenuous when men talk about individual things that women do to enhance themselves and pretend. I've never heard a man ever say, "Oh, I want a woman with weave." Like,
but you know what?
Welcome.
Hey, Vonda.
How you doing?
Hi, Char. Hi, Ruby. How are you guys doing?
All right. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Always
Okay.
a pleasure.
Same here. Same here. Okay. Now, you know what? My thing is that whenever I hear men, complain about the beauty treatments that women do to themselves, to me, in my opinion, and I'm not a man, and I don't look at women the way that men do, but to me, I'm assuming that they're talking about the exaggerated version of what they're talking about. Because wearing weave and wearing eyelashes and fake nails are not a horrible thing. But when you hear men talk about it, you would think it was the worst thing in the whole freaking world for a woman to put on some fake nails, some eyelashes, and a wig or some weave. I think it just, to me, I think what they're talking about is maybe the over the top. And
Uh-huh.
let's not pretend we don't know what over the top is.
Yes.
And you know what, to be honest, to each his own. Honey, if you want them longest, God knows what, get your nails long. If you want hair down to your ankles, get it. You want eyelashes that touch your forehead, go for it. But that type of a look is only going to appeal to a certain type of a man, because the average woman does some sort of beauty treatment to herself, and
Yeah.
it might be one of these things that these men are like, oh, I hate lashes. And you may be talking to a woman who has lashes on, but they're not the exaggerated butterfly spider lashes that touch her forehead,
Mm-hmm.
or a woman, oh, I hate weave. Well, she doesn't have on an orange weave, down to the crack of her butt. I mean, but she's wearing some sort of enhancement. The reason women do these things to ourselves is, it's for enhancement. But you do have the over exaggeration. And like I say, that over exaggeration is only going to appeal to a certain type of man. And my thing is that I don't understand sometimes why men get so angry. It's like they're angry. Oh, she got on them nails. I'm like, okay, well, calm down. Get a woman who doesn't have nails that long. Oh my gosh, she got those lashes on. Oh, chill. That woman is not even your woman. Let her wear her lashes how she likes, because she probably has a man at home that loves those lashes. But that wouldn't be your woman. To me, I just think their judgments are just so harsh, and it's like, to me, it's just over criticism. Choose the woman that you want. You're just not going to say, okay, all women are wearing those eyelashes and I'm looking for that one unicorn who doesn't wear eyelashes. It's like, stop it. Not all women do that. We all are very unique in our style, in our beauty, and how we present ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's okay. And we should be fine with that. If my uniform, my outfit does not appeal to you, it wasn't meant for you, honey. It wasn't meant for you. Next. It's like,
Wait,
next. It's
you
just, to
know what
me, I
my
just
issue
think the
is with that,
criticisms are
Vonda?
just so harsh.
My issue with that, and I mean, I agree with you on that, but I disagree that there are some men who genuinely want and only elevate the natural beauty. And the reason why I say that is because there isn't a star, there isn't a model, there isn't any of those people that you've ever seen without makeup and the lashes and the this and the that and the foundation that makes their skin look flawless and the tape at the side of their eyes to lift their eyes so that they look more Asian-y. There isn't one, right? So it's disingenuous for them to act like these women that we see them elevate and we see them praise and we see them praise the beauty and they, oh, she's a natural beauty, right? Well, it's like, you've never seen her natural face, right?
Sure.
When you see her natural face, quote unquote, she has on natural makeup, sometimes way more makeup than she has on to have the glam look, right? Or when you talk about in a club, and I agree, right? Like there is such a thing as going over the top, but let's be real. It depends on the setting. If you're at work with the orange wig and the super long this and the super long that, you look ridiculous. But in the club, right? It's kind of the same thing as if you're acting. If you're on the stage versus if you are in front of a camera versus if you are just standing with someone talking face to face, your makeup has to be different. And if you're on a stage, your makeup looks hideous up close, hideous.
True.
But if you
That's
don't,
very true.
right? But if you don't have it that way, people can't see your features at the back of the auditorium. Once you get to the mid auditorium, no one can see you anymore. So we have to remember a lot of these people, okay, fine. You look at the picture of them in the club, they look crazy. But in the club, you see her eyes, you see her lips. She doesn't look like she's caked to death in makeup, right? Because it's dark lighting. There's thousands of people around. blah, blah, blah. So they're just trying to get you to see them. And I know what that is because I didn't wear like the fake lashes. I don't really wear makeup. It's not really my thing. So in real life, people would look at me and be like, oh my God, you look so beautiful today. But when I took the pictures next to everybody, you couldn't even see my face in comparison to looking at them, right? Like they just looked like they had some mascara on, even though they had the fake lashes. They just looked like they had a little bit of makeup on, even though they had a whole bunch. And I looked like I just rolled out of bed, even though, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, we're not putting things into the correct context. And it's like the majority of these women are not wearing 17-inch long nails and 10-inch long lashes and their red spiky crazy wig and their crazy, like they're not wearing that on a day-to-day basis. They're wearing it to go out when they're trying to get attention. And then they're getting the attention. And when they don't wear it, they don't get the attention. That's what it's like.
Yeah.
If men didn't give them the attention, they wouldn't do it. Let's be real. True. That's what it is. Come on.
True.
And you know what, I agree with that. There is a time and a place for certain looks and certain styles. And that's what I mean. You know, this look isn't for you. You know, I mean, we've all been in the club and the lights are down and everybody looks good. At the end of the night, they turn those lights on, those cold, hard lights. You're like, oh my God.
Girl, yes.
Yeah.
You'd be like taken aback. You'd be like, wait a minute. Oh my goodness. You know, so we all get that shock. You know, everybody gets that shock. Because, I mean, it's a look. It's a night, you know. But my thing is that, you know, if that look is not appealing to you, I mean, I just don't hear people talking about, you know, personality and character. And because don't you talk? I mean, don't people talk, or do they just sit there and look at nails and eyelashes and, you know, weave? I mean, don't you talk and get to know the person and you be like, okay, underneath all that makeup, I'm sure, you know, there's something else. You know, just take it in mind, the setting that you met this person in. If you met them in the theater and they're an actress, hey, they're going to have on makeup like that. But side note, Ruby, you are the second person I have ever heard of who has the double row of lashes. I know that Elizabeth Taylor has that, and she had and she was always, you know, applauded for her eyes, you know, because of the thick lashes and then, you know, the color of her eyes. But she had the double row of lashes, and it caused such eye irritations for her. Her eyelashes would like curl into her eyes and cause a lot of irritation. So she had a lot of problems with that. But that's a very neat fact, and I appreciate you sharing that with us.
You know what I used to do is I was constantly, if you watched me as a kid, I was constantly always pulling, like I was like not super hard, but like kind of like going from one corner to the other and like slowly pulling, because the littlest lash that was out, like, you know, when you shed lashes, and obviously I shed more than everyone else, it would be in my eyes right away. And then God forbid one grows a little bit straight. So it was good that they were super, super curly, because God forbid one grew a little bit straight. That's it. It's in your eye. Right. So it was a whole thing. But on the other side, it's like, I'm looking at my eyes now. Right. And I'm like, oh, what happened to my lashes? Like, how do I get them back to the way that they were? Because my eyes look so understated now, like naturally. Now, all of a sudden I understand why people wanted to wear mascara. Right. Because I'm like, I just don't feel like you can see my eyes the same way. They're the same damn shape and size as they always were, but without these, you know, these dark lashes that are super curly and they're going all these different directions, because I have different rows, right? Without all of that, it made it difficult. That being said, the reason why I never got into makeup is because if I put on mascara, they looked fake. My lashes looked fake because they were so long and curly. And if I couldn't really wear eyeliner properly unless I wore it on my actual, you know, like that inner lid where you wear it inside of your eye, because you can't line your lashes properly when you have two different rows, but they're not super even rows. You can maybe draw a line in between them, right? So it's like, if you try to draw a line, you're still going to see so much skin. So it looked like ridiculous when I would do it. So I just never really wore, you know, the liners like that. I might do a shadow maybe, and like do a dark shadow in that area, but I couldn't wear like liner like normal people. But now I'm starting to get it. Like, I want my eyes to look like, you know, 21-year-old ruby eyes. Right? Like, I'm feeling it now.
All right. Well, let's see if he talks about any qualities or
Right.
anything.
Yeah,
All
we'll see
right.
what else he
Doesn't
has to
look
say.
like it's gonna happen, but
Mhm.
let's see what happens.
Yeah, I feel it.
All right.
A lot of women, and then we live in now, you're always taking pictures. Instagram is a 24/7 photo shoots. So I think a lot of women have started getting lashes because when they take pictures, it does make your eyes pop in pictures. But I
Okay.
will but I will say several men have come on my show and made the complaints about lashes.
Oh, really?
So, oh yeah, you're not the first guy. We hear I hear it often here. So I mean, ladies, it's up to you to either listen to what the men like and don't like. It's always your prerogative. But a lot of men don't like lashes. I hear that a lot.
Okay. With that being said, I know I'm gonna get backlash from that. But if a guy doesn't dress appropriately for you, if he wears pants saggy or wears skinny jeans or whatever y'all don't like, y'all gonna make the comment about that too, right?
Listen, I'm not judging you for your you are in a space to say exactly how you feel. I'm not giving you pushback. I'm not What I was saying was you're not the first guy that said that.
Uh-oh.
And women, if it matters to you to being with the guy, then that could be something you could consider. Because it's not the first time I've heard that here. A lot of
Right.
men don't like lashes. So that is something I think ladies have to start thinking about if you want a particular man.
Right.
So it's okay. I'm not judging you. You are fine. Okay. Did you have any other complaints you wanted to voice that you don't like? This is your moment.
No. It really ain't no complaint. You asked me a question, I just answered it.
Okay. So what was your last relationship, Andre?
Probably about 2019.
Okay. Why did that end?
You want the truth? The truth is,
I
I was
always
dating.
want the
Why you keep asking, do you want the truth? No, lie.
Right.
So I was
That's
dating
exactly
this
what I
Lie.
girl.
Give
said,
me
We
a
had been together
lie.
Armando.
for about 7 months,
That's exactly
and
what I said.
I guess
No, I'm sorry. That's just killing me. I said the same thing exactly what
This
Vonda
is the
said,
second time he done
but
said that.
muted it.
You want the truth? No, fool. Give me a
No
lie.
lie.
Give me your
Right.
best lie.
Right. I'm glad you called in. Please call in so you can lie to us. That's what we want here. This is the
Yeah.
lie show. Like what? What? What is that? But you know what though? It's the same thing I think that Jack Spade does when he comes on, right? Um, there's all these narratives that people are listening to about what women are about, what women are, what women act like, whatever. So when you hear, the second you say anything to any woman, she's gonna cuss you, she's gonna this, she's gonna that, right? Then it's like even if you've never had the experience of it, you just think that that's what it's gonna be. So you know what I mean? I think that's what they're reacting. You want me to tell you the truth, or like, really, really?
Well, that being said, I would think that if I went outside the house with some eyelashes on, that I would be getting all kind of scowls from men.
Right.
It's like
I'm
that's
just
so
saying.
crazy. Be like, oh my
Mm,
God, they must see my lashes, Although
mhm.
I've never worn lashes, I don't even know how to put them on. I'm not that good. I don't do stuff like that. But I mean, if I put on some lashes, I would think every man is gonna notice, the way that they talk about certain things. I'm just like, okay.
I can't wear them. And it's funny, that's how I found out. I didn't know that the way that my lashes were not like just the way everyone else's were. It's when I wanted fake lash, I could not get them on without there being this separation and I looked stupid. I was getting really frustrated. And actually went and I hired a Mac person to do my makeup for some events. I can't remember what it was. I think it was a wedding. And she's the one who told me, oh, the reason why this is not going to work for you and it's not going to work. I can't do this. I'd have to cut them into pieces
Yeah.
and glue individual little pieces is because you have this, the double row. I had no idea that that's what I had. Right. But now, people are getting lash extensions and then they're getting lash perms and lash whatever. So, I mean, I guess my question is your issue is he said when they start looking like rakes, right? But what if like that's the style, because sometimes that's the style, right? Is for you to make your lashes spiky, and you just happen to have long lashes. So then if they're long and you make them look spiky, but they're real, like is he not about that? Look, I just feel like it's kind of all cap. That's what it is. That's my issue. I feel like it's
Um,
all cap.
I
The
wouldn't.
weave thing, the everything, I feel like it's all cap. I think they're lying. Yeah.
He's using it as an excuse for the woman that he was with, and that's how he describes her lashes as rakes. It may not have
Hmm.
been that way. It could have been just a regular, a small, just regular. But that's
Hmm.
because he didn't like what happened. He gonna
Yeah.
Insinuate.
insinuate what it
Hmm.
actually was. So that's what I
Right.
think happened here. But it's gonna be interesting if he tells the truth, what he got
Yeah,
Hmm.
to
because he keeps asking, you want me to tell the truth? Like,
Yeah, let's
okay.
see. All right.
say.
Hmm.
Bring it on, truth man.
All right.
Janet maybe had a baby or something,
Say
and
again?
I think Janet Jackson had a baby or something like that, and
Yes.
I was like, Janet Jackson too old to have a kid. So she was 37 with no kids, and she made a comment like, "Why do you say stuff like that?" So I knew right then that she wanted a kid, and she was, high risk at that point. And I didn't want to be dating her till I was 42, 43, or she was 43 years old, and she didn't have a chance to have a kid.
Um,
Um, I know we paused it a few times, but are you able to put everything together? That what shoot? He was 35. Dang, I forgot how old. Dang, I can't
I don't know
remember.
how old he was, but I know she was
Oh shoot.
37.
37, yeah.
Hmm.
Shoot. He was. That's a shame. I'm not going all the way back, but
He was some age,
I
whatever.
can. I can. It ain't gonna hurt. Give me a minute.
Okay.
Um,
South Carolina. Greenville, South Carolina. How old are you, Andre?
42.
Okay, he's 42. And let's jump back.
So how old was he during this? This
Okay.
Fair enough.
So yeah. Okay. I did ask. I'm trying to hold back. So you don't know this. People probably don't even know this. I love Janet Jackson.
He said
Oh,
his.
okay. Rewind a little bit there, because
Yeah, he said his last relationship was 2019,
19.
2019,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
and this is 2022. So he was 39 and she was 37.
37.
All right.
Okay. All right. Got that.
All right. So I just point out the weird thing, and I found it to be strange that he says that Janet Jackson was too old to have a child, and Kendra G was speechless when he said, "Well, I broke up with the girl because she was 37. I knew she was gonna want to have a baby, so she high risk, so I broke up with her." What can you say after that? But I'm sure we'll have a lot to say. Let's listen to a
Oh,
little bit more
God.
first,
But
though.
wasn't she though? Wasn't Janet like 50 years old or something when she had that baby?
Yeah,
Yeah,
she was
she
50,
was,
and
she
and
was
that's the thing. The woman he was with at the time was
was
30,
37.
37, and he's talking about a woman that had a child at 50. So he
Mm-hmm.
skipped the 40s and just went straight to 50. So we'll see what womb warrior
Well,
has to
no,
say
I get
here.
what he's saying. He was watching the Janet Jackson story. He said, "Yo, that woman's too old to have a baby." And then the woman he was with got offended at that. And the way she got offended, he was like, "Uh-oh, that's it. Her womb is crying out to her, and I don't like her enough. I don't want to have a baby with this woman." So actually, I think he did. No, that's really what it was. So I think he actually did the right thing in that case, because he's one of those guys, right? For all that they criticize women for not dating intentionally, men are, I think, a lot more likely to date without any intention. They just find someone they can sort of be semi comfortable with, right? They get regular cooch, regular place to eat, regular person to take on dates to stuff, right? But they don't have real intentions for this woman. They don't really like her, right? So as long as she doesn't want to change the status quo at all, he's good. And as soon as she has expectations, that's when he wants to leave because he doesn't like her enough, right? And
And
I think that's what happened.
that's unfortunate if that is how it happened because he was at least 39 years old.
Hmm.
And I think he just haven't had much experience because when he was asked what he looking for, it was really strange. You say, she can work, uh, and he just really didn't have much. So I'm thinking he doesn't have much experience. But
Mm.
just to go back a little bit, he's 39. What the hell did you talk about within his time of dating this woman?
Mhm.
These things come up because,
But you
especially for a woman, because you're the
at
one that can get
37, yeah.
pregnant. You're the one that can
Mhm.
get pregnant, don't you? If he was having just if they were having only oral sex, I can understand if it never came
I
up.
doubt that.
But if
Mhm.
there was some
Right.
penetration at time, you as a woman, especially, you're gonna mention, well, what that what if? So you're gonna be asking some questions. Well, are you interested in having children? And blah blah
Mhm.
blah. The conversation gonna come up. So it's something that's missing here. I don't know what it is.
I'm going to
Right.
tell you what it is. I'm going to tell you what it is with this man. And this is the thing that I got from him when he first started talking. And then with this little tidbit here, this man has absolutely no interest, zero interest in children. He
Mhm.
doesn't want to have his own children. And if he broke up with that woman for that very reason, and maybe he didn't state it, but he wants to use all these other reasons. Oh, well, the women over this age are too old. This man doesn't want kids. He's very indifferent when it comes to kids. Oh, well, she can have kids, but I could do without it, pretty much.
Mhm.
Mhm.
This man does not want kids. He flat
Mhm.
out does not want kids. So there's no amount of an accident or unprotected sex or anything that's going to get him to, once he sees the baby. No, this man does not want any children. He could care less about having a child from his loins. He could care less about it.
Mhm.
You
I
know what
agree
though?
with that.
On one side, I think it's because, well, first of all, men these days, right? Like I think all of society is just growing up too slow, right? 30 is the new 20.
Mhm.
And so really the 42-year-old man is really a 32-year-old man, and 32-year-old men, their clocks are nowhere near ticking. So I think that's issue number one. I think issue number two, though, it's not always necessarily that the guy doesn't want to have children ever. It's that he can't imagine, like, he doesn't want to be a baby daddy. He doesn't want to make a baby mama. He doesn't want to be part of all of that. If he were to have a child, he actually wants it to be in a two-parent household, there for the kid or whatever. And he can't imagine that he would actually find that. Like, as in, he can't imagine that he would find a woman that would feel that way about him and that he would feel that way about that woman. So he's indifferent to having children and whatever because he doesn't really want to have his own children because he wants to find a woman he's chill with, right? And that's what I mean. Like, as soon as she says marriage, as soon as she says, some type of bigger commitment, he'd be out because he doesn't want to find a woman that he falls in love with, that he wants to spend the rest of his life with, or whatever. He just doesn't want to be alone, right? But like, he just wants to find something that's comfortable enough, but like is not the one. And I think
Mhm.
that when I hear people say stuff like that, it's like it's a defense mechanism, right? They got their trauma, they got their damage and whatever, and they aren't willing to open up and be vulnerable and risk being devastated or risk being disappointed, or they're not willing to put in the work to, be functional or whatever it is, right? That's what I hear when I listen to this guy.
Well, he said he wanted to know if you wanted the truth, and I just want to know why don't he just
You want me to
spill
get the
it
truth?
instead of coming out of all this? But let's see where it goes. I mean,
Okay, let's
we
see.
may change our mind. He
Mm,
keeps talking.
true.
Let's
Probably
see.
not, but yeah. Okay.
Janet Jackson too old to have a kid. So she was 37 with no kids, and she made a comment like, "Why do you say stuff like that?" So I knew right then that she wanted a kid, and she was, high risk at that point. And I didn't want to be dating her till I was
Also, that's
42,
bullshit.
43, or she was 43 years old, and she didn't have a chance to have a kid.
I'm 37. I'm at high risk.
Okay.
Fair enough.
So yeah. Okay. I did ask. I'm trying to hold back So you don't know this. People probably don't even know this. I love Janet Jackson. Like I give her a lot
She's
of
a
That's
credit.
pendant.
right. Yes, Kendra.
Showing me that dreams come true. So I was trying to hold in
You see,
my own
Char?
personal feelings about your comment about Janet Jackson.
Janet
But
is the
I'm going to,
boss.
we got
Huh.
to 5K. Yay.
All the girls at the party, look at the body,
but
shaking that thing like you never did see.
I'm not going to cuss you out, but just know that I love Janet Jackson. So let's not say anything else negative about Janet Jackson.
I'm just making a
It
comment.
laughs.
Well, I think what you should have said is, in your opinion, she was too old to have a child, and you are entitled to your opinion. But obviously, your opinion doesn't matter to her, because she has no idea who you are. So she decided to do what she wanted to do with her life. So you are entitled to your opinion, but it's not a fact for Janet Jackson. But we're gonna move forward because I really love her. But okay, so you broke up with that woman because you learned in that moment she wanted to have children.
Right.
Okay. All right.
At that point, and she was already 37 years old.
So I guess you want to talk about this. Do you think women after 37 should not have kids?
No, I know. I mean, after 35, women are high risk pregnancies.
No, they're not.
They have children after 35.
No, they're not.
I know several men that's had babies at 80, but that's not something that typically.
So how are you gonna? So if you know that,
oh my God.
So how are you gonna speak for anyone? I mean, you can say for yourself, right? But you can't say a woman can't have a baby after 35 when we both know women that have.
You're not hearing me. I'm saying at 37, that's a high risk pregnancy.
No, it's not. No.
Dating her for 2 years, and now she's 39, so it's even greater.
No.
Okay.
It's not the way that works. No.
Okay, so you and having kids yourself is not. Well, let's start right here. What's the age range you want to date, Andre?
Probably from 30 to 50.
30 to 50. So just refresh my memory. Having your own biological child is not important to you.
I beg your pardon?
Having your own biological child is not important to you.
It's not a dream of mine. I'm not saying that I'm against it. I mean, I'm not going to have a baby after 6 months.
That's fine. I'm just asking you. It's a simple question. I said, is it important to you or not? It doesn't matter to you.
No, not really.
Okay. And you said the woman can have 2 kids.
Right.
Okay. All right. So let's move forward. What kind of do you have an appearance requirement, Andre?
No. I would like to address this because it really bothers me.
Chocolate.
It does.
Nice
it really bothers
she ain't
me.
gotta have big butt, big titties, none of that stuff. But
like, I don't know where this misconception. Well, actually, I do know where this misconception is. Right? We like to hella overgeneralize in new information that we receive. Right? And no one ever tells us we're wrong. So I'm going to start here. Okay. First of all, what most of these men are referring to when they start saying pregnancy at 35 is high risk, they're talking about the terminology geriatric pregnancy. Okay. And that actually is outdated terminology that's been being basically phased out and has been outdated for about 20 years. Right. But that's just to say that as of the age of 35, there is a good chance, right, that you have started the we'll say aging process of your reproductive system, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's true. It actually varies woman by woman, right? Just like some women can go into menopause in their late 30s, some don't go into menopause until they're almost 60. So there's variation there, first of all. Second of all, right, has to do with the health and quality of your follicles, as in, do you produce as much follicles as you did when you were 25? Do you produce enough follicles? Do you not produce enough? There's a whole bunch of different factors that are looked into. Okay, then we're talking about the actual health and quality. And here is where men get things twisted. They think that because they produce sperm until they die, right, that it's equivalent sperm, as in the sperm that they produce when they're 20 is the same when they produce when they're 60, which is not true. Both
Right.
men and women, as they become older and older, their sperm, their production, right,
Becomes
of these.
degraded.
Exactly. They are more likely to produce sperm that don't swim fast enough. That when they do swim and they're not connecting right. When they do connect, then there's birth defects and whatnot, right? So these
Mm-hmm.
are issues that both men and women face as they age. Okay. But the idea that a 35 or a 37-year-old woman, right, is now just this automatic high risk, that's it, is asinine. It's not true at all. Okay. It is perfectly healthy for women to have children 35, 37, 39, right? The issues that women might face, for example, maybe their follicle count is down too low. Well, then you take a drug for that now, right? Because again, as science advances, right? Then we start figuring out how to combat some of the issues we might have had. And the biggest issue would be, well, you're not producing enough eggs, in essence. You're not producing enough follicles to produce some healthy eggs for you. Hey, now they can give you a pill for that. Real talk. They just give you a pill, and then women who have stopped ovulating, right? They just take a pill and now they can ovulate again. Boom. Now they're pregnant. Boom. Okay. It's likewise with your womb. Over the course of time, you might develop certain things with the lining of your uterus and whatever, but not everyone does, right? I actually just had all this testing in the summer, right? I don't have any of those things. Like name one thing, not even fibroids. I have nothing wrong with my womb, and my follicle count is still in the well fertile range, right? My hormone count all in the well fertile range, and I'm 37 years old. Right. So we need to stop pushing this propaganda, because pushing that propaganda is exactly why 21-year-olds are thinking, well, damn, if I want 4 kids, I better start now.
I better have them
Oh, no.
now. Yeah.
Right. Because, man, by the time I'm 32, this is going to be
I'm going to be over the hill.
Yeah. And honestly, I'll tell you the reason why I wanted to address this, because I bought into the bullshit too. I really did. So I thought my life was over. Right. That I actually go talk to fertility specialists and doctors, and they almost laughed at me. Like, how stupid are you?
Did you tell them you got your information from YouTube?
I did. Yeah.
Well, I know, Ruby, you better get the crack-a-lacking on that little baby, because we need to be seeing something, spike in 2022. So get moving, sister.
Girl, if you knew how hard I'm working towards my baby goals.
Work
okay?
harder. Work harder.
Girl,
You can
listen,
do
I'm
it.
almost off. Let me tell you something. I'm almost off of every one of my very happy, cushy drugs. Okay. My drugs make me very comfortable and happy, and I'm almost off of all of them at this point. Why? So that way I don't have a high risk pregnancy, because my age doesn't make me high risk, but my cocktail of drugs did make me high risk. So I have been working on that. See, I wish. I'm sorry. I gotta adjust something Rev Willie said earlier, okay, about stretch marks. And like, I've had outright arguments, back and forth arguments in comment sections with men who are telling me that I'm stupid, and I must be jealous of the young ones, and they call me a single mama and all kinds of stuff, because I assert that all women have stretch marks. Literally every single woman, if you've slept with women, sir, you've slept with women who have stretch marks. And not one, all of them. No, that's not true. I do. Well, unless they were children, no, you haven't, right? Because all women, just like all men, get stretch marks. They tend to get them later. But all people get stretch marks. Why? Because the shape of our skin, right? Think about babies and children, the shape of your body. Okay. Well, when you hit adulthood, right? When you hit puberty, that shape starts changing. For women, our hips start spreading. Well, our skin bag is meant to be up and down rectangular. So what's going to happen? We're going to get stretch marks because of that rapid spreading of our hips. We're going to get stretch marks around our breasts because of why? We're developing breasts.
How old was that? 22 years old. The guy was 6'7", had stretch marks.
Of course he does, because men get stretch marks, especially in their shoulders and pec area. Why? Because men's shoulders
and their knees, they have growth spurts.
Right. Thighs for both men and women. I mean, I'm very, very, very light skinned, and I was lighter before when I was younger. And eye scar black though, right? Like really dark. And I swear to God, I woke up one day and it looked like I had Wolverine marks all over my back. It was like on my back near my hips, and my thighs. And I went to the doctor crying. I thought I was dying of something. Okay, like there's these black welts everywhere, right? And she's like, "They're stretch marks." And I told her, "They're not stretch marks. I haven't gained a pound." Right? I'm still size 2, blah, blah, blah. And she told me I seriously wanted to sue her, but guess what happened? They faded down and now they just look like normal stretch marks, right? So,
Right.
and that happened when I was like 14, 15, 16, around that. Everyone gets them. But then we lie about it and we act like women don't have cellulite and stretch marks. Like, no, every woman has that. Everyone, right? Every man has it too. And here's the thing. The only people who don't have visible cellulite are people who have very low body fat with very high muscle. Those are the only people who have very minimal to no cellulite.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're gonna be showing that cottage cheese, because what is that? That's just your fat cells. That's it. It's your fat cells without muscle supporting it and flattening it out. That's it. That's it. It's like,
Just
God.
repeating what they hear. That's all.
Right.
Everyone else say it, and oh well, I guess I say it too. Yeah, I don't want that either. And women on the side, those who have some experience or even some wisdom, realize, oh, you don't get out much, do you? Okay.
At
That's
all. God.
Fresh. What is it? Fresh and fake. That's what that is. So.
Freaking crack.
That. Yep. All right, I'm good now. I've addressed my issues. I'm good. Thank you.
I'm glad you got that off your chest, Ruby.
Oh, me too. Thank you. Thank
you. No, not really.
Okay. And you said the woman can have 2 kids.
Right.
Okay. All right. So let's move forward. What kind of do you have an appearance requirement, Andre?
I like a little chocolate, nice body. I mean, she ain't gotta have a big butt, big titties, none of that stuff, but in shape.
In shape. She gotta be in shape. Do you want her to be in South Carolina?
South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia.
Okay. Does she have to make a certain amount of money?
It depends on where you at.
Okay.
Where we live in South Carolina, I mean, $60,000 is good, but you move to Charlotte, then you're looking at 70, 80, Georgia, 70, 80.
Why did he say that? What was the first thing come to your mind for him to say that?
That he makes $60,000 a year. That's what it made me think that he said, well, if you live in my area, then 60,000 is real good. Oh, okay, so you make like 55, 60,000, like max, right? Like it made it sound like to me like he was trying to validate his own income. It wasn't even about the women. Right. That's what it sounded like.
Excuse me. Yeah, that was kind of strange. I'll continue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well. All right. So that last woman, y'all broke up in 2019, right?
Right.
Okay. So is it fair to say if you're with a woman, you broke up with her because she was 35, 37 and wanted a child?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
And you just felt like she was too high, so you didn't want to risk having a. Well, it seems like you didn't want to be with her long term. Period.
No, this is my best friend now.
Oh, she's your best friend now.
It wasn't. I did it for her. Like, I think you missing it. Like, I didn't want her to have complications during pregnancy if we decide to have kids at 42, or say we've been together for
he didn't want to get her pregnant.
Then she's gonna resent me.
This fool don't want no kid.
5 years and we haven't had a kid yet.
Oh my God! No accountability. None.
Did you like her like that?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So why couldn't y'all? Why didn't y'all plan to have a child together?
Bull.
Huh?
I said, if you liked her like that, why couldn't y'all plan to have a baby together?
Because we was together for 6 months.
Okay, so she was 37. So a year later, how long do you have to be with a woman before you decide you want to have a child with her? Do you want to get married?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm just trying to understand, because I just think if she was 37,
what is he looking for? He's confusing.
And y'all were together for 6 months.
Disingenuous as fuck.
2 years, 39, you could have got married. You didn't want to marry her?
Yeah.
No.
She could have had a baby at 39.
I mean, anybody can have a baby at any time, but at that point, we was together for 6 months. We didn't have any issues in 6 months. Who said we wasn't gonna have issues later down the road?
Okay, I'm gonna leave that alone. Okay.
What I
Next
tell
question
y'all?
for you. This is Andre,
Mhm.
Greenville, South Carolina, 42, no kids, sales manager at a car dealership. He'll date 30 to 50. He does prefer a black woman. He's a Sagittarius. Why would a woman be lucky to be with you?
I mean, anybody lucky to be anybody. I mean, as long as somebody makes you happy. If I make her happy, then like a lot of women not happy right now. So if I make her happy, she'll be lucky.
You said a lot of women are not happy right now?
Absolutely.
Why would you say a lot of women are not happy right now?
He's just really dry. I'm sorry.
Because I got never mind.
No, go ahead. I want to hear this.
Because I see it every day. Everybody see it. Everybody see women that's in relationships that's not happy. Then we see a lot of single women. So
you see, so the women
But
who
you're
are
a
in
single
relationships
man.
are not happy, and
I see a lot of it.
So what's your environment? Because I see so many women who are thriving and extremely happy in their lives, whether they're married, single, or not.
I see. You have a single show, right?
But single doesn't mean you're not happy.
Exactly.
You got a single show. People come over here, maybe because they like. Or some people.
What I'm saying is single does not mean you're not happy. You could be single and happy. You said that there's not a lot of happy women in the world.
That's not what I said. I said
what did you say?
I said there is a lot of women that is single and not happy, and there is a lot of people in relationships that's not happy.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
so who are the happy women? Do you ever see happy women?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, okay. All right, Andre. So you just said, okay.
He don't sound happy. Damn it.
Okay, you kind of confused me because what I was asking you is why would women be lucky to be with you? And then you said that it'd be lucky to be with anybody because there's a lot of unhappy people in the world. That's what I could have sworn you said.
It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people right now. They post pictures on Instagram.
Oh, so disingenuous.
With their significant other, their husband, or whatever, and they'll be in somebody else's inbox. So to the public, they look happy.
Okay, he got a foot already in his mouth.
But to those who know, why is why right now the divorce rate is so high?
So I guess
what? Because of lying ass motherfuckers like you.
No, because he's been listening to YouTube.
He's negative as hell. This guy is so negative.
He's just repeating stuff that he's heard. You're
too old to have a baby. You're unhappy because you're single. Dude, what are you talking about? He sounds like he's unhappy. Why would what benefit would a woman get out of dating him? There was nothing spectacular or interesting that he said about himself. He talked about how women are too old to be having kids over a certain age. Having kids, I could take it or leave it. Marriage, yeah.
I did it for her.
I want to get married, but a lot of women are unhappy, and who wants to date him?
What is going on with the 6 months? We were dating for 6 months.
Oh, my issue.
That's a long time for him, everyone. That's what I want to point out.
No, my issue is he's disingenuous as fuck. Because the thing is, he won't own anything he says. He says most women are unhappy in relationships and they're unhappy when they're single, right? And then as soon as Kendra gives him a little bit of pushback, he goes, I didn't say that, right? And then he starts trying to change up what he said, but then he comes around full circle and just says the same thing that he just said he didn't say. Like, he can't even own his negativity. He can't even own his bullshit.
Has he smiled one time since he's been on this dating show? This is a dating show, dude. I'm glad you didn't show up in a t-shirt and with sleep in your eye. But I mean, can you smile? He has no personality. This man is about as dry as unbuttered bread.
No. And he's telling, listen, what he's doing, okay, this is called projection. He is projecting his issues onto women, okay? What he is saying to everybody is, I am miserable. I am miserable because I'm single. I can't find the right woman. Mostly because I can't be honest about not finding the right woman, right? I can't be honest about a damn thing. No, I did this for her, right? Yo, you don't understand. I did it for her. I didn't do it for me. Let him explain it. Then she was going to resent me later. And it was about me. Everything he said was about protecting himself. So how is this about her? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's just like he's so disingenuous.
Yeah, he just won't say, I don't want any kids, instead of just saying to the woman, you too old to have kids. Or no, wait a minute. He does it indirectly. Janet Jackson's too old to be having kids. Hint,
Right.
hint.
Right.
Kids, I could take them or leave them, but if you want to have them, okay, but you got to be under 35.
Right.
You know what? The date's over. I'm just taking me
She's
home.
still my best friend. To this day, she's my best friend.
And she's over there saying, I dodged a bullet with this old cynical, non-smiling, jolly, non-jolly man.
Weirdo.
God. He's terrible. Just terrible.
Yeah, he just turned me completely off. He just turned me completely off. I'm just like, dude.
Real talk, I'd rather date one of them MGTOW guys who are like really firm in their MGTOW stance, because at least you stand for something. Own your shit, own what you're saying. When you own it, you stand on it. If I give you pushback, you're just going to push back harder. You're going to illustrate to me, give me 7,000, whether I agree with them or not, 7,000 reasons why you're right. I can take that. You know what I mean? Because then you are being openly, honestly you, right? And everything that you're saying is an open, honest opinion. It might be negative. It might be very nihilistic, right? But the point is it's real. This dude ain't even real. He's just picking up bits and pieces of bullshit he hears on YouTube to help justify his own dysfunction and his own trauma and his own trying to protect himself from harm and trying to protect his reputation because he can't find a woman who wants him. That's what it is.
But you don't know it. Woman. The thing that kills me is that you hear men talking about miserable single women, and they're single. So, okay, you guys are not miserable, but you have the pinpoint on miserable women. It's like,
no, they are miserable.
What does that make you? What does that make you that you're single? It doesn't mean just because you're single that you're miserable or you're lonely. They don't constitute themselves as lonely or miserable. So
yes,
why
they do.
Have to be?
They do. That's why they call themselves incels. See, they are miserable and lonely, but it's not their fault. It's women's fault for being ain't shit. Because if women would just stop being modern ain't shit women, then they wouldn't have to be miserable and lonely. You see it? They're owning their misery. They're owning it. They're just saying it's not their fault. It's women's fault for not choosing them. It's women's fault for choosing wrong. It's women's fault for not seeing their potential in 30 years. It's women's fault that they're miserable and lonely. So of course the women are miserable and lonely too, because they're miserable and lonely, right? Trust me. They know they're miserable and lonely. That's why they keep saying we are, right? And that's what it is. They know. They just want a little bit of attention from a woman. And if you let this one push on, because he looks all right? Like he looks like,
he's not a bad looking dude.
Yeah, right. But I bet you he's more incel than a lot of the incels.
He's a killjoy. If anything, this dude is a killjoy. Like I said, he ain't cracked a smirk or nothing. I mean, it's the stiff upper body he got going on, and I'm sorry, he is a complete turn off. Just off. OF.
He really is. Off. Yep. Sad.
Wonder how he's doing in the car business.
He ain't sold a car in 6 months. He has not sold anything, and he's miserable. He needs to get one of those lonely, miserable women in there to buy one of those cars from him so he can, perk it up a little bit.
You think maybe that's why she has to make a certain amount so she can buy a car
from him so he can get the commission to be able to take her out on a date?
Because he's been sitting there singing bills. Can she pay my bills? She pay my telephone bills. She pay my automobile bills. Then maybe we can chill. That's what it is. He needs someone to help pay him some bills. He can't afford them on his own.
Because that was kind of interesting. He the requirement is she worked. I found that interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I could see if he said, well, I really don't want to date a stay-at-home mom or something like that, but he doesn't really have the personality to really even think that far ahead. But for him to say work, I'm like, okay, that stood out. I put that in the back of my mind. And then when she asks about a certain amount, and he had one, that I'm like, why do you have a certain amount? Why do you care? Why can't she make less? And then if you dated that 80,000 woman, why does she have these type of eyelashes and speaking out in the restaurant, like you said? Because that woman, she would be a different class of woman if I would think making that type of money. She ain't got time to be this drink ain't right and all of that. So
yeah, he talked about combative women. He talked about women wanting
Mhm.
to have kids over 35. I mean, he talked about miserable women. Dude, are you trying to date a woman? Because you just gave up like 3 negatives about women. Who are you trying to date?
Mhm. Interesting.
Very interesting what they say.
Let me get to the end. Let's see.
Okay. All right.
It's the wound expert.
Because basically you don't want to get married. And that's fine if you don't
I
want
didn't
to.
say that. I said you got to find somebody that makes you happy and you make them happy.
Okay. Are you happy, Andre?
I'm ecstatic.
You are.
Where?
This is ecstatic?
In his kneecaps.
Okay. All right. So just want somebody to align with that.
Right.
Let's do it. This is Andre. He's in, I can't remember. This woman got to be in South Carolina.
South Carolina, North Carolina, or Georgia.
Thank you. All right. Give them your IG name.
It's A Devon 33.
A Devon, and A Devon is ADEVON 33. ADEVON 33. This is Andre, Greenville, South Carolina, 42. Age range he will date is 30 to 50. Prefers black women. Does not mind if you have children. He's
He don't want
at a
none.
car dealership. All right, Andre. Well, thank you for coming on the show, now.
Thank you.
All right, bye, baby.
Yeah, she was through with him. Yeah, because if
you
the
are.
age range, he gonna pick up to 50. Why? And then you're gonna date her and then break up with her. Oh, I did it for her.
Shoot, he'd probably be better off starting with the 50-year-old because at 50, most women, if not 99.9% of them, are not trying to have no damn baby. So he's in a good spot. You're dealing with a 35-year-old career woman. She's like, okay, now my career's set. I'm ready to have a baby. This fool don't want no kids. Andre does not want children. And he would prefer your children to be grown or their father to be in their life. So on the weekends, they not at the house.
That was ecstatic. I just wanted to say, he said he was ecstatic. That was
You
it.
know what? I could see the jubilance in his face. It was, he was just very jolly. I was like, yeah, the more he talked when he first started, I was like, oh, okay, nice, serious, handsome, man. The more he talked, the colder it got in the room. It was just
Like
the
a
drier the
Chicago
sand
wind
got.
chill.
There was no water. It was just dry and just deflated. The helium was just being, let out the balloon. He was a killjoy. I would just feel like I couldn't eat. Our meal would be a serious meal.
I think just the introduction, just talking to him to set the date up, it wouldn't go any further than that because I would think something is wrong. Like he's just forcing himself to go through it. And I wouldn't enjoy that. So I wouldn't even go any further than the conversation on the phone for the setup for the date. I couldn't
He
get
didn't
anywhere.
he didn't look like he was anticipating anything like, 35 to 50. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm ecstatic. Yeah, because I just think 35, over that age, that's just too
That's
old
a
to be
high,
having a
yeah,
baby.
that's a high
And
risk. And
Well,
Janet
yeah,
Jackson. You heard Janet Jackson, right?
I
Yeah.
don't. I could have kids, but it's not, it's not a priority. It's not a dream of mine. I don't have a dream to have children, and I'm
Oh yeah,
42 years
yeah,
old. It's not my dream, but
yeah,
if she's under 35, then yeah, I could, pump a couple in her. But if she already come with her own, we said if she already come with her own, and hopefully they grown, and then we're really set. So yeah, Andre need to start with the 50-year-old ladies and leave the 35-year-olds alone. Leave them alone, honey, and start at 50.
yeah. Because that's only if he is a good lay. I don't think he is, but
You know
if
what?
huh?
You know what, Shar? That would be a hell of a roll of the dice, because just with his presentation right there, it, I wouldn't
Move
take my
over.
socks off. I wouldn't even take my shoes off to even get to know what that was about.
It's
My
bad when you
shoes
leave the
wouldn't even.
socks on. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
ain't nothing coming off. I'd just be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm not gonna take nothing off. You
Yeah.
might as
You
well
know what though?
just.
I have to give him a little bit of credit because it's actually not as uncommon as you think. For men to feel exactly the way he does about children until they meet the right one. Right. So
Oh
Mr.
yeah.
Ruby was like that, right? Mr. Ruby wasn't even really interested in getting married, let alone having kids. It was not
Oh.
like and not like he wasn't against it. He just, like he didn't want to create any baby mamas or, didn't want to be a baby daddy. Um,
Mhm.
he came from married parents and everything. And it wasn't, it wasn't like a thing yet for him. And then, once he met me, then it was all of a sudden, it's like all he could think about, like, no, I want, I'm her husband. I want her to be my wife. I want to have a family with this woman. Right. And that still holds true. He doesn't want to have just anyone's children, right? Or he doesn't want just anyone to have his children. He wants it to be me. Right. And
Mhm.
so if it's not me, he's not particularly interested in it. But he's very interested in it, given that I'm part of the equation. So men are a little different. Women have a biological clock that ticks and says, produce babies, produce them. You got to do it, right? So even if they're at a certain age, they're single, they have no viable options, they'll turn to someone like Robert Perkins, right, and get pregnant because the biological clock was ticking. Men don't necessarily have that, right? So because, and it's the same thing, if you remember, Charlotte, like 5-6 years ago, we used to talk about this all the time. If there's a fire in the house, right? Men, who's the person you're going to save? You're going to save your wife, right? And who will women save? Women will save their children, right? And men used to talk about this like it was a bad thing, but it's like, no, it's the natural order of things. The men take care of, they're focused on their wife. They end up bonding with the child and loving the child because they love the wife, right? Because of their attraction to the woman. And then women, right, love their children. It's a automatic thing that happens. Once they have those kids, you become second, man. Like that's just what it is. Sorry, it's not because of anything other than she has to make the kids the number one. But then she will love you for loving her kids, right? So
Mhm.
it's just kind of like the way that I think men and women work. And like I said, in this day and age, 21-year-old men are not thinking like men. They're still kids in a lot of ways, right? They're not, we're not cultured to be like, okay, we're going to be married at 21 and have 7 kids by 28. Otherwise, you're a failure. We're not cultured like that, right? So they're still thinking a lot like kids. So I'm not hating on him for that point. I can't because, then I have to hate on Mr. Ruby, but also because I hear it a lot. So I think more my issue with him is he's just not being honest. He's not being honest about what the real problem is. And the real problem is he's not willing to be open and honest and connected enough to anyone, in order for him to fall in love and want to marry someone. He's not going to open up his heart to that extent to any woman. That's why he wants her to work, right? If she works, she takes care of herself, she takes care of her kids, then she's not going to be
He ain't got to
reliant on
worry
him.
about it. Yeah, this man
Exactly.
is not trying. He is not trying to be a provider. That's what he's not
No.
trying to do. He's
Mm-mm.
like, I'm not trying to provide, for nobody. So if she comes into the situation with a couple of kids, granted, she's already been, dealing with them kids, like, a bike without training wheels. She already got that down pat. She comes with her own luggage. That's fine. She's got a whole routine. He's not trying to start anything with her. I question him as to what are you looking for, Andre? I mean, companionship, regular sex, weekly, daily, or because he's not even sure if he wants marriage. He didn't even really say he wanted companionship. I mean, what, Andre, my dude, what are you looking for? What are you looking for is what I'd like to know.
A woman with a steady job. I mean, I'm telling you, that's just stuck out when he said she works. That stuck out. And then an amount. You actually thought about amount. Where it depends.
You know what, Char, you might be onto something with that. You might be onto
he
something
got
with
the
that.
city and the amount. Well, shit, North Carolina, it could be 60, but
you know what?
like South Carolina, like 80.
Yeah,
Things like
a little bit deeper.
Why
only
don't you
because
have that? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm okay.
No, only because he knows that he only makes a certain amount of money, and he's like, well, if I don't sell any cars, if she, is already making a certain amount, then we good. We's good.
There's that, but also, I mean, there's a good chance, right? Given just again looking at his looks and whatever, that he is a recovering homosexual, right? And so that would also explain the setup he's looking for, right? He's looking for a woman. He doesn't care about her particularly, right? But she wants this man. And as long as she gives him some good, as long as he gives her some good, right? And agrees to babysit the kids, he can play video games on her couch, 3 hots in a cot, right? And he's good, right? And she'll work well and whatever. So he's really talking about, well, okay, if she only makes $50K a year, man, I gotta sit up in an apartment with her 3 kids. That's annoying. But if she's making $150K a year, man, then we're basically like in a huge house, right? And I just put the kids in the basement while I play my video games upstairs, right? So, he's got the homosexual, thing. He's got to shake it off a little bit because that probably was the last 10 years of his life, 20 years of his life. Let's be real, right? Like, and you hear it all the time. I hear it in divorce court. I hear it in paternity court, all of those court shows, right? Even like listening around in these streets, like on the Lapeef network and stuff, you got Jay. I like Jay from the Lapeef network. I think he's funny. But the reality is, right, is this newer generation. So I'll say like the 45 and under generation, you've got a lot of men who think differently. And it's like, they're almost like the way you would think women would be. So it's like they were working when you met them. They proposed to you. Y'all got married. And then 6 months into the marriage, they stopped working. They play video games all the time. They almost like you became their mother. You married them to become a mother. You're hearing a lot of this, right? You're hearing a lot of men turning to women and relying on the women to take care of, life and responsibility. And it's their chance to go revert back into childhood. Like a second childhood, almost like the first one wasn't good enough, so they need a second one, and you're a mama for it. So I don't know. He strikes me like one of them guys, but he's obviously not happy with it. That's why he's so damn miserable. That's why he could not crack his smile to save his life, right? He's unhappy with his homosexualism.
So
he's ecstatic. You gotta stop it, Ruby. He's ecstatic. Cut it out. He is ecstatic.
This man's ecstatic. I don't think, I don't know. Maybe he's lying. He just don't know what the word is. When people use words,
I don't know what you saw, but Andre is ecstatic. So you cut it out. You stop judging him because he's ecstatic.
You want the truth? You want me to tell you the truth? He's ecstatic.
And he's truthful. And my thing is somebody who has to, proceed each answer like that. It's telling you that I'm about to tell you a lie. Do you want the truth? Or I could just tell you the lie that I was going to tell you anyway. You know what? I'm just going to go and tell you the lie. This is what I think. Yeah, he's a liar too. He's not only is he miserable, he's a liar. This dude,
his car drives wonderfully. Yeah.
Yeah. You know how I know he's a liar?
Car salesman. Come on. He has to lie.
No, that's all how I know. He's probably very bad at his job. You know how I know he's a liar? It's because of this. My ex used to do it all the time, right? If you ask me any question, right? Hey, Ruby, is today Friday? If my answer is, huh? That answer is, I'm buying time because I've told a lot of lies and I have to figure out, I feel like this is a gotcha question. So I got to figure out, what I'm supposed to say and how it lines up with my other lies. That I'm telling you, my ex was a massive. I like it irritates and aggravates my soul when people answer questions like that, right? Because he's speaking normally the whole time, and she asks, "Huh?" But he knows the answer. If you don't repeat the question, in about 10, 15 seconds, he'll answer the question. He knows what the question is. He's buying time. So he wants you to repeat the question, maybe even elaborate, whatever, because it's going to buy him time to figure out his answer. And it's not about you lying your answer to that one question being a lie. That's not the problem. It's about the fact that a lot of things you're saying is a lie. And so you need the lie to all line up together. And something about the way they have to answer this question might expose their other lies. So they have to buy time to put it together. That's how I know. I'm telling you, I've dated all kinds of different kinds of liars. Okay. And I'm telling you, that's why I know what this lie, this version of liar is for sure. 100%. Yeah. This version of liar. Okay. This version of liar also, for the record, for all these guys who like to blame their mothers for everything, right? This version of liar tends to have a very coddling, doting mother, right? They tend to be mama's boys. They tend to have been very spoiled. Nope, they weren't put in the little husband role. They were literally just coddled their whole lives. And so, if in fact, if anything, they had no expectations or discipline really put on them in any way. And they behaved as in they didn't, go get themselves arrested or whatever, because they wanted to be in mama's good graces so they could continue to be coddled. They're very soft. They probably had a father at home, but the father was the man of the house, and the father didn't, co-opt him or teach him anything. It's like, no, dad shovels, dad does the lawn mowing, dad does this, dad does that, because he's the man, and no one taught him to be a man and follow suit. So he's just the child, and so now he's an adult, but he doesn't know how to pick up the role of man, right? And so what does he do? He just becomes a glorified child. Well, yeah, she can have a couple kids. I don't want kids because then they become my responsibility. I might have to grow up. No. You have kids and then you take me on. You adopt me. I'm your third child, right? Any more than that, and you won't have enough money and time to take care of me too, right? Like it's just delayed adulthood thing. Like there's something very wrong with millennials, with like my generation. We're all delayed adults. Like I have no idea how people look at me and see a grown up.
What happened, Ruby? You give me the inside scoop. I'm not a millennial. What? Where'd you guys lose it? I mean, what happened?
Well, I think a lot of things went wrong. So the early 90s, right? A lot of us, in late 80s to early 90s, a lot of us were latchkey kids, but that was right around the same time that helicopter parenting started being advertised as the best version of parenting, right? So you're basically protect your kids from making any mistakes or getting hurt at all. And then that way you protect them from pain, because pain equals trauma, which equals dysfunction. So, whereas in before, when you were a kid, you're running around outside, you fall off that tree, you figure out, oh, don't step on the smaller limbs because they're weaker and then they'll break and you'll fall. We don't learn those lessons, right? Because we weren't allowed to, because of helicopter parenting. And then we have the whole issue of the tech boom, right? Whereas then they raised us with or Generation X values and Generation X, just concepts. And then by the time we're adults, everything we learned is irrelevant. All the ways you learned how to get a job, right? Irrelevant, right? Because you can no longer get dressed up in your suit and looking good and smelling good presentation, firm handshake, and all that stuff, and ask for a job. Because they're just going to tell you, here's the website. Wait, what? The website? Yeah, you just email your resume to there and someone will get back to you if they like your resume. Out of the 10 million? So then how do you stand out, right? No one taught us these things. No, and then so you have kind of like a string of no one really taught us some of the things that I think we should know. And I mean, life lessons even, right? That everyone gets a prize kind of stuff. It's just, we're very confused generation because things kept changing over and over and over and over and over again. We've had 2 economic crises, 2 or 3 in our lifetimes, right? Like, I mean, a lot of things. It's just like we just had no stability. There was no stability with rearing this generation. And so for a variety of reasons, no matter your race, your creed, your whatever, you're some kind of lost and confused. It's just what it is. We're just all lost.
Wow. Well,
Mhm.
uh, maybe it'll get better. I don't know, but
No,
each
we just
day
have to
is
die off.
okay. Well, I was gonna say each day is opportunity to get better. You just have to be careful what you constantly consume,
Hmm.
because that could hinder a whole lot of progress. So,
Right.
Oh yeah. I mean,
yeah,
it's making a big difference. Look at like, I'm sorry, men. I know men are gonna get mad for this one, but all the men are sitting there and complaining about Oprah and black women been saying this since this time, and y'all been this and y'all been this, and most of us are like, how come the women you're yelling at about this weren't even alive when those things were happening yet? You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
they don't, they were not
You're
part of none of that.
girl.
And,
They make you
right?
still a part of it.
Somehow it's still your fault, right? So now you got women they're supposed to apologize for things they didn't even know about, that they didn't take any part in. I shouldn't have an opinion now because women used to have an opinion because of Oprah. Like, well, what is that? Like, is that really the direction that we're encouraging now? The pain and blame Olympic Games. Well, men do it too, so I should be allowed to da 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 because men do it too. Like, how I just feel like that's why I said, I'm like, I just honestly feel like millennials just need to die off, like, because like we're just such a worthless generation in so many ways, and we have no accountability, we take no responsibility. It is always someone else. It's the generation X's fault, it's the boomers fault, it's everyone's fault but our fault, right? Like, I'm
Girl.
explaining what happened, but I'm not saying it's
Mhm.
their fault, right? Like, we became adults, grow up, take some accountability. No, we don't do that. It's not our fault. It is never our fault. Trust. Never. No. They did it to us, Shar. They did it. The boomers
That's
failed us, right?
oh
Who
Lord,
cares? Who cares
oh
about
boy,
history? The
Oh
boomers
my
failed us.
God.
oh
Well,
boy.
the boomers, they apparently the boomers, and they failed a couple of generations. They failed the Gen Xers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna say about the Gen Xers is a 50-50. 50-50 with the Gen Xers. You got 50 of them, pretty decent. They're on the ball. The other 50 are just effed up. They are totally left with their way of thinking. They're totally left with the way they live their lives. The other ones, they're not necessarily activists, but they pretty much, march to the beat of their own drum. When it comes to
Mm-hmm.
that other 50%. Then you have
Right.
your little millennials, and they're just like, it's your fault. It's your fault.
Yep.
Wah,
You're not accountable.
wah.
Yep. Like, it's terrible too because like young millennials, right? So young millennials have no connection to history. Old millennials do because old millennials are part of that Zennial gap. We were taught a lot of Generation X stuff, right? So like they just don't understand. Like, oh, see, you guys should have been building this for us and building that for us, right? But they don't know what happened in the 1980s. When all of those predatory loans came to pass and bankrupted 80% of the Black middle class, right? I mean, these are real historical things that happened
Yeah.
in your lifetime and you don't know. So you're blaming people for stuff that's not necessarily accurately true, right? Like, you're missing a lot of the story with, and then think about the economic crises that happened thereafter. So forget just what happened to our community individually. There was also greater stuff happening in society, bankrupting people, crashing their businesses, crashing everything they were trying to build. And then you come with your little entitled ass at 21 years old and going, where's all the stuff you should have built for me? What? It's like,
Yeah, that's messed up, and that's why I kind of always look at them like some people, the people that are blamed, they were not alive,
mm-mm,
um, and just like give you an example. I said we hear a lot about food stamps, and I think it was the year, was it 1972? I think that black women were allowed to get food stamps. I think that was the year. And
mm,
I'm like, okay, so if you were 72, you had to be, I'm sure, probably 17 at least to be eligible.
mm-hmm,
So if you're talking about them, those people are, um, probably in their 80s. So why don't you have a conversation with those that's in the 80s and say, hey, you know what? I know you signed a bill. I know you took them food stamps when they were out there doing this, that, or whatever, they saying. Blame, talk to those people. Why are you talking to those that are in their 30s, in their 20s, in their teens?
Right.
They
Mm-hmm.
have no idea what you're talking about, because
Right.
I was thinking myself when I heard it, and I'm like, I wasn't born, I wasn't old enough to sign
Sign
anything.
up for anything. Yeah.
Right.
Like, I didn't
So
have any clearance to do that.
what's going on here? So that's
Mm-hmm.
always confusing, and I'm gonna have to have a couple of conversations about that because I'm curious about some things. When I hear stuff, I normally just sit back. I don't say anything, and I have some questions in my head. But I think I'm gonna start asking some of the people. Well, could you, go a little further with that? Give
Mm-hmm.
me some names or whatever, just to get a more of an understanding. Because I would like to understand, especially if you keep hearing some of the same things over and over again. Well, can you give me some more understanding? Maybe I'm slow. Can you just break it down a little bit for me so I can understand? I'm curious like that.
Right. Well, I mean, it doesn't. See, here's the thing. There's the narrative, right? And then there's what like actual people say. So like Brother Bay was here earlier, and last time
Mm-hmm.
I was on his stream, it was me, him, BGS, Art, um, and Art's father came up on the stream, right? And
Mm-hmm.
he was just left and right. He was just talking about what was. Like, this is what he lived. Women were not kicking men out of their houses to get food stamps and blah, blah, blah. And the few families that broke up because of that, it was the men making that choice that they were going to go so the family could get food and whatever because they couldn't find employment. And they were trying, but it wasn't enough. Right. So, like, he
Mm-hmm.
was just talking about his real lived experience. This man had been married 4 times. He's looking for a fifth one, right? Because, and he said that really he messed up his first marriage, right? He messed up. It was his fault. And then every marriage after that, in essence, yeah, it was all failure on his part because those women to him didn't measure up to the first wife, right? And he wasn't really over the first wife. That's really what it comes down to. But the value of marriage still very valuable. So he's trying to find one that will work. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and you're listening to this man just tell you about what it is, right? He's like 15, 20 years older than BGS, and BGS is like, he was like on one
Oh, he
side,
was in his 80s. Okay, gotcha.
right? So yeah, he was older than BGS, but BGS was trying to talk about his time, and it's like, yo, bro, you weren't alive yet. When he's talking about he was like 2021, you were like 4, bro. You don't know, right? But he does know because he was there. And but we
Mm-hmm.
want to dismiss those things, right? That's why, likewise, if someone who's 55 wants to tell me about what was happening 20 years ago, I'm not gonna argue them, right? And be like,
No.
that's not true. That's not how the day to day was because I wasn't there. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm. Well,
and
that's
it was
like I'm saying. That's why I'm like, where are the 80-year-olds? So you can
right.
ask them, if I have talked to my parents, they're not alive now, but when I spoke with my parents, a lot of stuff that I'm hearing isn't true. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking at it like, okay, I hear what you're saying. I don't know where that is. There's a lot of states. Which states were that?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on? So I have the question. I have lots of questions. Something you just said, I want to touch on, and then we'll end the stream.
All right.
His brother, you said the father, and he married, and he won the first woman.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the home. That's what it is. So I
Mm-hmm.
want to know what does that look like? Um, hey James, I got opportunity to get some food stamps. There's some paper stamps, and I can buy some food with it. So I don't really have to get much credit at the grocery store anymore, and I ain't got to keep dealing with this. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign up for these food stamps, and I want you at the house by 6. So
You
have
know what, Shar? If you
packed
don't
up.
shut your mouth, Shar.
You have your things packed by 6 o'clock. Oh no, I don't
Mm-hmm.
love you anymore because I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take these food stamps. I had opportunity, and I'm going ahead and take them.
Kids,
So
tell your
is that
daddy
how
bye.
Is that how a woman thinks? A woman that has children by this man, loves him,
Mhm.
sleep next to him, get boned every night, and now food stamps is opportunity. I'm gonna jump and go get these food stamps, and he has to go. I'm sorry, I can't
Mhm.
see you anymore. I love you, but I gotta take this
Mm.
$50 a month. This is a lot of money back in the '70s. I'm sorry. This is gonna feed the family,
And on
minus
top of
you.
that,
I don't want you anymore. Yes,
Mhm.
I may have my needs and everything. I'm in my late 20s, but I'm gonna give you up for these food stuff because this booklet with these $50 in here, I can get some pork chops, some
Mhm.
oxtails, and some
some
peas and
milk and
everything.
cheese,
And you know
eggs,
how
Mhm.
baby
bread.
always wanted some extra milk with his Kellogg frogs, his frosted flakes. So at 6 o'clock, I want you out the house. I don't know where you're going. I know your mother still lives in the South. We moved north for, better opportunity, but you're gonna have to go somewhere. Maybe you can go up the block somewhere, live on the corner. But these food stamps, I'm telling you, this $50 book of food stamps is so enticing that I want your full body out of my house. Take the
Mhm.
clothes, which I don't want to
Full
see.
able body.
Don't come back anymore. I don't want to see you. In fact, you know what? If they come up with another program, I'm going to sign up for that and get a lawyer and get a divorce. How about that?
Mhm.
I've
Who
always
thinks
Mhm.
wanted
like
to
that
meet
as a woman? I don't
I've
get
always
that.
wanted to meet the man who actually was able to be put out his house. I'd like to know, well, I mean, did you just take your job and your check and move on because she didn't
Mhm.
need your check and you left your kids? I would really like to meet the man who was actually taken out of the house.
Yeah.
Well,
Welfare
And,
took him
and
out the
were they
home.
all working? Did all of these men have a job and just said, okay, well, I'm going to leave because she says she'd rather have food stuff. So let me go. Do, 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 do.
no,
That's
because
the
here's the
golden
thing.
question. That's the golden question,
No,
because
here's
how
how their story
can
doesn't make sense. Their story doesn't make sense because of this, and I always thought this. So you're gonna say, right? Because like here, there's no way to. Then no one comes and checks to see if a man lives in your house or not. There's not. No one checks to see anything really. You just give them the information, and then that's it. You get your welfare. But they said that people used to come. They're like people will come to the house and visit your house like every month or two just to make sure that there were no men in the house. Well, they wouldn't spend those very valuable resources on trying to catch people, right, who didn't really kick the man out of the house unless it was a problem. As in, unless people were signing up for the welfare and the food stamps because they desperately needed it, but they weren't breaking up as a family, right? So the man would just try to go and hide or evade them, whatever, for the day when they came to check out the house, but generally was still living with his wife and family, right? Like, you wouldn't spend, the government is not going to spend money just to make sure you're still single, right? It's the problem is that obviously people were saying, I need the welfare. We need this for the family. My husband can't find work right now, right? So we're gonna sign up for this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He ain't here. He ain't here, right? And then they realize, oh wait, no, people are lying, and no, we wanted to break up the family, so no, we're gonna go and make sure the man ain't in the house, right? And so they're sending people to your house every few months. That means it would stay a continual problem. That means women were not putting men out of the house for their food stamps. They were just lying to the government. And then the government was catching them, right? And they spent a lot of resources trying to continue catching them. So that's problem number one. But problem number two is when you speak to anybody who was actually there at the time, they literally say that like 99.99999% of these families that were intact and functional, right? But the man could not find employment, right? The woman's
Yeah.
employment was not enough to feed the family. The man was the one making that decision. He was saying, listen, you do this for the family. I will go. I will stay at my brother's house. I will go do something else. And I'm going to find employment so that way I can come back and take care of the family properly. But for now, feed our kids. Right. So it was not some vicious thing. Women were just making these decisions, kicking people out or what. Like, no, people were trying to do the best that they absolutely could as a unit for their family. Right. It's like, it's such an asinine suggestion. It's such an asinine suggestion that the government was going to pay people government salaries and wages to go check on hundreds of thousands of people, right? To make sure no man was in the house, but it wasn't a problem, right? No, it wasn't a
I
problem. The
mean,
woman kicked out the men right away.
think
Kicked them
about
out.
think about us as how we are. We're hustlers. We have to make a way out of no way. We don't have a choice. We
Mhm.
don't get a fair shake at nothing, not a
Mhm.
woman, and especially not a black man. So
Right.
we're going to do what we need to do, and we're
Mhm.
going to do it as a unit. Now, if you weren't no
Exactly.
good and it just happened to happen because something up, was up, that just happened to be maybe your excuse. But I doubt if it was that many people to report it to that in 2022 that it's
Mhm.
still being reported. I really doubt that. But
Mhm.
as black people, that's what we are. We have
Yeah.
to get by. And Captain Bang Bang Bang, wait, I'm not telling him to leave. Are you crazy? Are you
Mhm.
baby bye? But anyway, that's it, everyone. I hope you had a good time. I hope your virgin ears are fine, Emmanuel.
Mhm.
Hope we didn't hurt you too much, but just wanted to give you a little entertainment.
Mhm.
I wanted to thank you guys for enjoying Reverend Willie. I'll see if she wants to come back. I'll also see if you all want her to come back and what do you want her to talk about? Because, it's a get a little expensive. I got to pay the woman. It's her
Mm.
time and all that.
Well,
She doesn't
yeah,
live here, and, so I
bring
got to
her
pay the
back.
woman
We'd love to hear from her
Mhm.
again, Pastor Willie.
Mhm.
time. Okay. And thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for your likes, your shares, your contributions. Please tune in tomorrow. We're going to have the article reaction, and that is at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to have them Kens and them Karens, and everybody looks forward to that. So do tune in. Don't be shy.
Mhm.
What else? And you guys have a good evening. Please stay safe, and we will see you then. Until then, be safe and peace.
Cheers, y'all.
Peace out, family.